Welcome to the Middle School Visual Arts PLC group. My name is Alicia Montgomery and I'm the moderator for this group. I'm so glad that you've joined this community. It was created with you in mind. Our goal is to collaborate and support each other as we navigate the craziness that is middle school visual arts. Whether you are the only one in your system or one of many, we know that you're going to find some great ideas here. In order to make this as beneficial as possible for everyone, be sure to set up your notifications and check back often to see post discussions and support that we'll be showcasing. Please engage in our discussions and offer up any support or questions that you may have. Also, make sure and share this with your colleagues and your friends. Our topic for today is our end of the year lessons. So the end of the year, it gets really crazy. You're trying to do inventory. You're trying to get kids' makeup work. You've got end of grade or end of course testing. You've got things like Georgia milestones or state standardized tests, all of those things. And you try to find things that are going to be really engaging for the students and that are going to hold their attention, but also not make you absolutely crazy as a teacher. So some of the end of the year projects that I do are some of the ones that are showcased here. We do boas, we do origami and storigami, we do a woven bag, we may do optical art. So it's things that are not going to take up a lot of time, it's not going to take a lot of materials while we're trying to do our inventory and all of our end of the year paperwork and check off and things that your school system may require. So why do I choose these particular lessons? Right? I choose them because of the ease of teaching. All right, there's really high student engagement with these projects. I can be more of a facilitator once the initial instruction is done instead of having to go around and talk to them about sketches and technique and all of those kinds of things. So it allows me to kind of step back a little bit and just kind of monitor what they're doing. It's minimal materials. It's less mess, so you don't spend that time cleaning up or they have to get out of their seats and go wash their hands when it's the end of the year and they're all excited and it's hard to keep them in their seats anyway and keep them from horseplaying. And it gives me the ability to do some things while they're working. So to grade papers like makeup work, to do some cleaning, to do some inventory, to do things, whatever other end of the year tasks there are, like cleaning out my email, wiping computers, and getting them ready for the next year, all of those kinds of things. So the first project that I want to talk to you about today is a Navajo woven bag. And this is one of the weaving projects that we do. Some of them look like this. So we start off with a basic cardboard loom. We add weft threads to it, and then we add warp threads to it, and then we use yarn to do our weft threads. So it makes a little bag, and you can adjust the size to fit their ear pods or their headphones or their cell phone or whatever it is that they want to make their bag for. I do kind of limit the size because of the amount of time that we have. So here's two examples that I have. Here's two more examples. You can make handles and straps. The one on the left braided hers and attached it to her bag and then did a little piece of trim around the top. The other one used multicolors and wove and braided hers and added it to her bag with a little tassel detail on the sides. So I'm going to show you just real quickly how to get this one started with the loom and the weaving process. Feel free to use this in your classroom if you'd like. Okay, this is one of my little instruction sheets. It has your essential question up here. So how can you create a woven pocket to carry stuff without stitching the sides together? And then these are some professional examples from an exhibit in Phoenix, Arizona at the Heard Museum. And then the one at the top is by a mentor of mine named R.K. Young. This is one that she did. So I'll include this in our documents tab of the platform so you can see it. It has our Georgia Standards of Excellence down at the bottom as well. All right, so to start your woven bag, you will start with a piece of cardboard, whatever size you want it to be. You're going to space out your hat pins or straight pins about 1/4 of an inch apart. All right, then you're going to take a piece of whatever string you're going to use to weave on. Okay, this is called your warp threads. And you're just going to make a little knot like this. You're going to hook it over the first needle, pull it tight, and then you're going to start doing your loom. So I'm going to come down, I'm going to go straight up the back, and I'm going to go around the front of this pin. Oops, let me get this little tail out of the way. I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to go down the back, up the front, in between these two, where there's already a white thread. I'm going to go behind that one and the next one. I'm going to go down, up the back, in between those two where the white thread is. I'm going to go in front of these two. Down the back, up the front, in between those two. And you're going to do that all the way across. When you get to the last one, you're going to go down and up, and then you're going to tie a little knot around this top one for the end. So then you have that all tied off. Now these are called your warp threads. You want to make sure that they're straight, make sure none of them are overlapping. Make sure they're not in danger of sliding off the corner. Okay, and then you're going to choose a color of yarn to do your weaving on. I'm using this blue yarn that changes colors, and I'm going to have a little plastic needle. If you will loop this like a bunny ear, pinch it together, you can poke it right through the eye of your needle. We want to pull this through just a little bit. Don't tie it to your needle. If you tie it, the knot will start pulling your warp threads. So this is called your weft thread, right? And you're going to start from whichever side that hand you are. So if I'm right-handed, I'm going to start from the right. If I'm left-handed, I'm going to start from the left. Right? And you always want to start under first. So we're going to go under and over, all the way across. You're going to pull this all the way through. So you have just a little short tail hanging out. You're going to push that down to the bottom. This one went over, so when I flip it over, I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to go over and under. I'm going to do that all the way across. Oh, and one of my threads slid off, so I'm just going to slide it back up over here. Pull that all the way across. Slide it down to the bottom. Then we're going to flip it back over, and this time we're going to do the opposite of whatever's underneath. So this one went under, so I'm going to go over. So over and under all the way across. Then you're going to pull this all the way through. You're going to slide it down to the bottom. And you're just going to keep going around and around like that. Every time you start on a new side, it should be opposite of what's underneath. So for example, if you look here, this one went under, and then this one went over. This one was over, so the next row was under. And you'll keep going that way until you go all the way to the top. And you're going to do a few rows and you're going to squish it down really tight. That's called combing. You're going to keep going and going, and then once you get it all the way to the top and it's as full as you can possibly get it and you've combed it as much as you can, then you'll pull your pins out and pull the cardboard out and you'll have your woven piece. Another weaving project that I do is called finger weaving. And this, you just need your hands and some yarn. This particular example is thick, chunky yarn. I use whatever yarn we have left over at the end of the year that the kids want to use. And I'm going to do a little video to kind of show you how to get started on this as well. It's not an in-depth one, but it at least gets you started. Another project that I like to do at the end of the year is finger weaving to make like a boa, or some of my students like to just compete to see who can make the longest one, but they have one class period. And so the first thing that you do is you have some yarn and you're going to drape it across your hand. And I usually tell them wrap it a couple of times around your thumb just to keep it from getting tangled up. All right, then you're going to take and wrap once around your pointer finger, once around your middle finger, once around your ring finger, once around your pinky finger. Okay, then you're going to go back across your hand from your pinky to your index finger, right, and just let it lay loose on top. Then you're going to take and pull one string up and over your finger. Pull the one on your middle finger up and over that one you just pulled across. On your ring finger, pull it up and over. On your pinky finger, pull it up and over. Make sure it doesn't slide off. Then you're going to take the string down the back. You're going to wrap it around starting from your pinky. Go back across. And you're going to repeat those same steps. So pull this finger. You take the bottom part, and pull it over the top. On your ring finger, take the bottom and pull it over the top. Oh, I dropped that one. All right, and take your pinky finger and pull it over the top. You're going to come around the front and do it again. I'm going to slide these down a little bit, right across the top. Do it again. Pull it across. Keep going until you get them all done. Then after you have a few rows, you'll grab this long tail down the back and just pull it, and it will start to make your boa. As you get longer, this will come together, and I'll show you a finished example on the next little section. So here's a couple of examples of their boas. This is the whole thing. Some of them leave it like this. Some of them like to say that they're snakes, especially the boys, and they have contests to see who can make the longest one in the amount of time that they have. You can also add little tassels to them, so you can see the close-up of the tassel here. Right, aside from weaving, we'll do an optical art project. And we talk a little bit about optical art. I show them some examples by optical artists. We watch a little video clip that's 4 or 5 minutes that I just found on YouTube about optical art and a little bit of the background history for it, and where it came from and why it was started. And then we talk about color pencil techniques, making sure that it's nice and smooth. If you want it to look three-dimensional, doing your gradients on those pieces. So for example, like this one is darker on the edges and lighter in the top or in the middle, so that it makes it have that 3D effect when it's really just a flat piece of paper. So I give them 4 or 5 different options. They can choose which one that they like the best, and then they choose a color scheme to go with it, and then I just give them a 9 by 12 sheet of paper to draw this on. It only needs color pencils in the paper, so that kind of keeps that down to less mess, minimal materials, so that you can continue doing your end of the year things that you need to do. So this is one of them. All right, here's a couple of other examples. All right, so the one on the left might be for some of my more advanced students who are good at gradients and blending. The one on the right would be from some of my more basic students where they just use their initial and personalize it some. And here's a couple more. The one on the left kind of goes along with some of their math skills that they learned this year. The one on the right is more just like a checkerboard, okay, with that sphere that looks like it's coming out from the back. And so I have little handouts to go along with these that show them step by step how to do each of them, so they can look at those as they're working. Then I have them do one in their sketchbook first, and then we do their big one on the, or their final one on the bigger paper. The next project that I like is origami and storigami. As we do this one, we kind of review some of our elements and principles of art, so things like shapes, forms, texture, because I use a textured origami paper sometimes. We talk about value. This is two-sided usually, has a dark side and a light side. Talk about balance, how we want to make sure that our origami is balanced so that it can stand up. So we talk about unity, right? Making sure that it's interesting from all sides, those kinds of things. So we do kind of review as we're going through this project. For the basic origami, we might make a little box like this, or a boat, or a crane, or something like that. Might have a little boat or a penguin like the ones you see on the right. These are the ones that I do my storigami with. And storigami is when you make origami by telling a story. And the story helps you remember the steps to create whatever it is that you're creating with your origami. So this is my origami instruction sheet. I do this for 6th and 7th grade. This is just the 7th grade version. So it's how can you use paper to create form and balance? And so here's 3 examples that they can choose from. They can choose the crane, they can choose the little masu box, which looks like this, or they can choose like a little canoe. And they can pick which one they want to do. And then they have step-by-step instructions on how to create each of these. Sometimes we'll do this as a whole class, so we'll walk through one step at a time. If it's a class that's got some more advanced students in it, then I may just let them pick from the instructions which one they want to do, and then they create it at their own pace. The storigami does a little bit of the same thing, but it tells the story to go along with it. So I'm going to just show you a little clip, just a little short piece of a storigami that I do. These can be found online, these can be found in books, so you can just Google storigami and a lot of different things will come up that you can use for this one. So one of the projects that I do is a storigami project, and I like this project for the end of the year because it only takes a day or two. It really keeps the students' attention, and it only takes one little piece of origami paper. So we start off with a sheet that's colored on the front and white on the back. And then as you do your origami, you tell a story, and it's supposed to help remember the steps. You can find these in books. There are lots of books online that you can find with storigami in them. There's YouTube videos. So the one that I'm going to do just a little section of today came from a book. All right, so this one's going to make a penguin. So this story takes place on a big, beautiful iceberg floating off the edge of Antarctica, the continent at our South Pole, covered with ice. This magnificent iceberg was given the big white diamond because it glistened like a dazzling gem in the bright Antarctic sunshine. So we'll fold it like this first, then we'll unfold it to make our diamond. Notice that the vertical line is in the center. 3 happy penguins lived on the edge of the big white diamond because it glistened like a dazzling gem in the bright Antarctic sunshine. Let me introduce these little penguins to you. The first penguin was named Viola. Let's fold each of the lower edges of the big white diamond inward to form the letter V for Viola. Oops, let me turn it right side up here. So then you have your V for viola. See if you can balance the amount of color that shows on each side, and try to make the narrow points of each triangle meet at a point, the base of the big diamond. So there you have your V. The second penguin's name was Walter. Guess how I can change the large V into a W for Walter? That's right, we simply fold the bottom of the large V up partway to form the letter W. And so that's the beginning of our penguin for our Storigami. So you can check those out in books or online. So thank you for joining us. I hope some of these lessons will help you get through the last few days of school and keep your wits around you, keep you from losing your mind. So please take a few minutes to participate in the discussion question, which this time is going to be, what are some of your favorite end of the year projects? I can't wait to hear all of your wonderful ideas, and make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the fun, and make sure that you keep up, or make sure that you don't miss out on our updates. All right, don't forget to join us the next time. Have a wonderful summer.